doing well. Welcome to another We've Read the Documents live stream. Your host, John Brisson. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you want to support my work, buy me a coffee/We've Read. Thank you for all who support. If you want to subscribe to my work or view my work, search We've Read the Documents on Odyssey, Patreon, and Substack. $5 a month will get you access to all my work. Substack has the most access to all my content, my written content, Spotify, podcasts, stream, etc. So if you're going to subscribe, I suggest doing it on Substack. If you want that most access to my content. My videos go free on Odyssey, however, a week or two after publication. For, if you can't afford to subscribe, I understand. So it's a way for you to view my work, without having to subscribe. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for your feedback. So we got a lot to cover today. Vladimir Putin says Europe will stand at the feet of the master. Very interesting phrase. As Trump tariffs alarm allies, Vladimir Putin warned Europe will quickly stand at the feet of the master. That's very interesting. Kind of alluding to like a guru, right? After U.S. President Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, provoking global markets meltdown and alarm among European allies. Following Trump's decision the weekend to impose trade duties on America's closest trading partners, Russian President Putin said Sunday that Trump's second administration would restore order in Europe. Restore order. I assure you, Trump, with his character, with his persistence, he will restore order there quite quickly. And all of them you will see will happen quickly soon. They will all stand at the feet of the master or wag their tails a little. Everyone fall into place, Putin told pro-Kremlin journalist Pavel Zarubin, who represents the primetime Moscow Kremlin-Putin program on Rossio 1 state TV channel. Comments were reported by state news agency RIA Novosti and translated by Google. Putin did not give any further explanation as how Trump could restore order, and it's uncertain how he's referring to with his comments, but Moscow has expressed hopes that his own relationship with the United States can improve under Trump. The Kremlin on Monday says watching on as tensions build between U.S. and its allies. There are many tensions there, so of course we have no desire to be associated with this in any way or to evaluate in any way, Kremlin Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov told reporters in a daily press briefing. Okay, so we have, tariff trade wars between Canada, Mexico, and the European Union and the United States of America. Supposedly, right? We'll see, right? And of course, the markets tanked, the cryptocurrency tanked. But didn't stop Palantir. Palantir shares popped 10% after the company posts strong earnings and outlook. Palantir reported better than expected earnings and profit for the fourth quarter. Of course they did. Trump's in office. Shares popped more than 10% on strong results and outlook. Earnings report followed a historic rally on the company's stock last year. Palantir is a major provider of software technology services to defense agencies. CEO Alex Karp attributed much of the company's growth to its use of artificial intelligence. Our business results continue to astound, demonstrating our deepening position at the center of the AI revolution, Karp said in the earnings release. Our early insights surrounding the commoditization of large language models have evolved from theory to fact. We're still in the earliest stages, the beginning of the first act of a revolution that will play out for years and decades. Wow. That's an interesting phrase, too. Karp said after adding that the company has been preparing for this moment diligently for more than 20 years. What moment? The return of Trump? Or the quote-unquote AI boom? Why Musk's access to the Treasury payment system is so dangerous? Elon Musk isn't elected government official or appointed government official. He doesn't have a true government title or true government position. Doge, has, those, put into place by Trump hasn't really been debated or acted upon by Congress. It's not an official thing. Elon Musk has no official power, but yet he does. Granted, Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency access to the Treasury payment system is as dangerous as it gets, critics have warned. Last week, President Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, I've covered Bessent on this channel, not our guy, reportedly gave Doge representatives whom nobody elected or have little oversight access to the internal federal payment system that disperses trillions of dollars each year, including Social Security and Medicare benefits, the New York Times first reported. The system run by non-political staff is also responsible for paying out tax credits for individuals and businesses, and crucially grants and payments to government contractors. Some of those include organizations that compete with Musk companies. Yeah, Musk, through, his various organizations, whether it's in business, should I say, whether it's SpaceX or the Boring Company or Starlink, they get massive amounts of money in government contracts and many different contracts associated within the United States government, right? It's like a conflict of interest to me. Musk and his Doge team think the payment system should be overseen by political appointees selected by President Trump, according to Wall Street Journal. Now he has control of the payment system, which is a vital lifeline to millions of Americans. Career Treasury officials are breaking the law every hour of every day by approving payments that are fraudulent or do not match the funding laws passed by Congress, Musk posted on X over the weekend. This needs to stop now. Critics have sounded alarm over the move, however. This is not the attitude of the people who are simply trying to make the payment system more efficient, Nathan Tankus, research director of the Modern Money Network, writes in Rolling Stone. They have a very clear and specific agenda which involves unilaterally cutting spending, particularly spending they perceive to be going against their ideological cutting the funding going to their ideological foes. Doge isn't a government agency, yet Musk and his cost-cutting associates now reportedly hold unprecedented access to the Bureau of Fiscal Service, which is in essence the federal government's checkbook. It contains highly sensitive and confidential personal information belonging to every taxpayer in the United States of America. The scale of the Bureau is vast. It dispersed 87.9% of all federal payments through the 2023 fiscal year, according to the figures on its website. In the same period, it collected $5.47 trillion in federal revenue. That included distributing $3.4 trillion in federal payments through programs such as Social Security, veterans benefits, and income tax returns to more than 100 million people. It also provided human resource services to more than 21,000 government employees. Access to the payment system has historically been limited to a handful of non-political staff because it contains confidential data belonging to millions of Americans. Takis warned that if the Trump administration is able to access this choke point, the Bureau of Fiscal Service, then they could have also possibly have stopped paying federal employees that have forced on paid administrative leave, coercing them to resign. He also warned that Musk could attempt to go after the nonprofits he dislikes. Okay. Warnings about Musk's control of the system follow the departure of the long-term Treasury official who reportedly resisted allowing Doge personal access to the department's payment system. David LeBrake, a career civil servant, suddenly announced his retirement on Friday, according to the Washington Post. LeBrake has served at the Treasury for decades, and his department is said to have come a shock to his colleagues. According to CNN, LeBrake pushed back against one Trump-affiliated employee who asked about the Treasury's capacity to stop payments. Sources familiar with the department told the network that's not the Bureau's role to decide which payments to make. Rather, it's just to make the blank payments. The Independent has contacted Doge and the White House for comment. Okay. Musk associates giving unfettered access to private data of government employees. Several of Elon Musk's associates installed at the Office of Personnel Management have received unprecedented access to federal human resource databases containing sensitive personal information of millions of federal employees. According to two members of the OPM staff with direct knowledge, the Musk team running OPM has the ability to extract information from databases that store medical histories. Wow. Medical data. Personal identifying information, workplace evaluations, and other private data. Staffers spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly and feared professional retaliation. Medical data. Operation Tiberius Kirk, anybody? Trump administration? Palantir's medical data of anybody who got the jabs or tested positive for COVID in a clinical setting? Now, more medical data? Musk Watch also reviewed internal OPM correspondence confirming the expansive access to the database provided to Musk associates. The arrangement presents acute privacy and security risks, one of the OPM staffers said. Well, if you're going to do retribution, right, you would have to have access to all this data, right? Among the government outsiders granted entry to the OPM database is University of California Berkeley student Akash Boba, a software engineer who graduated high school less than 3 years ago. He previously interned at Meta and Palantir, of course. a technology firm chaired by Musk ally and fellow billionaire Peter Thiel. Edward Korestein, another 2022 high school graduate and former software engineer intern at Musk Neuralink, is giving access to the databases. Interesting. Intern at Neuralink and intern at Palantir and Meta. Really? Access to all that medical data, all that private data, right? And you put in 2 interns, one from Palantir, Operation Tiberius Kirk, and one from Neuralink, which might be the mark of the beast. Other Musk underlings embedded at OPM following President Donald Trump's inauguration include the agency's new chief of staff, Amanda Scales, who until January was a human resource staffer at XAI, Musk's artificial intelligence firm, and Brian Bajeldi, who spent the past 21 years at Musk SpaceX, including the last 10 years leading the human resources department. They're joined by Calvin Klieger, a former Twitter software engineer serving as a special advisor to the director of the OPM, and Ricardo Biasini, a former software engineer at Musk's tunneling venture, The Boring Company. All of them covered. All of Musk's ventures covered. All of them. It's crazy. It's crazy. OPM did not respond to requests for comment. Shortly after Trump took office, OPM installed Greg Hogan to serve as new chief information officer. Hogan was tapped to replace OPM CIO Melvin Brown, who just accepted the job less than a month ago. Servers who oversee OPM's information technology services were then instructed to provide access to Musk associates. According to OPM staffers who spoke to MuskWatch, one of the OPM staffers received an email from the agency's new leadership instructed them to give Musk's team access to the system as an admin user and code read and write permissions. They have to access to the code itself, which means they can make updates to anything they want, the staffer explained. USA Jobs, the federal government official hiring site, was one of the systems that Musk associates were giving access to. The database stores personal information, social security numbers, home addresses, employee records, provided by private individuals who applied for federal jobs regardless of whether applicants went on to work for the government. Musk aides were also given access to OPM's Enterprise Human Resources Integration System. Contained within EHRI and the Social Security numbers, date of birth, salaries, home addresses, and job descriptions of all civil government workers, along with any disciplinary actions they have faced. Looking through all the position descriptions to remove folks, one of the OPM staffers said of Musk's team. So this is literally Schedule F and the removal of anybody who doesn't go along with MAGA and Trump in the United States government. As who it is, removal and fired of not only people within the executive branch, but people within the entire United States government. If that's not like fascist, I don't know what is. Okay? This is how they found all the DEI offices and had them removed by reviewing the position description level data. Other databases Musk team has access to include U.S. staffing and onboarding system, U.S. performance, a job review site, and HI, which the government uses to manage employee health care. Health insurance one scares me because of the HIPAA information, but they have access to all this stuff, the OPM staffer noted. All that health data. Former OPM director who spoke to MuskWatch on the condition they would not be mentioned by name agree with staffers' concerns. What Musk is doing will put so many government employees at risk. It's not all what the office is intended for, says the former OPM director. I just can't believe what I'm seeing. There are also potential security risks. China and Russia are literally trying to hack us every day. We just gave all this data over to somebody that's not been properly vetted, one of the OPM staffers said. It's not just Amanda Scales, it's all the political appointees in that office right now. There's multiple vulnerability points. Outside actors have gained access to some of the most massive email lists the OPM created as part of Musk's effort to convince federal employees to resign. A new server being used to control these databases is in place in conference room that Musk's team is using as their command center, according to OPM staffer. Staffer described the server as a piece of commercial hardware they believe was not obtained through the proper federal procurement process. So again, it's Musk's private server, right? So all the MAGA people are rightfully upset about Hillary Clinton's private server and her emails. But Musk having his own private server holding more information than Hillary Clinton's private servers did with data, okay? But that's fine. That's okay. That's perfectly all right. See all the hypocrisy? There is a legal requirement that the installation of a new server undergo a privacy impact assessment, a formal process to ensure the change would not create any security vulnerabilities. But since the staff believes that there was no PIA, so this application corresponding hardware are illegally operating, they added. On Friday, Reuters reported that some senior civil servants have been blocked from accessing the HRI and other OPM systems, making it more difficult for career OPM employees to know what Musk team has been examining or modifying. In the same report, the outlet revealed the team had moved sofa beds in the agency's headquarters to continue the work around the clock. Point gaining access to OPM databases last week. Musk used the agency to email all federal civil employees simultaneously. The email announced a deferred resignation program, claiming that any federal employee who wished to resign effective September 30, 2025 would receive pay and benefits until that date and would not have to show up for work except in rare cases. Musk and the White House falsely described the offer as a buyout or a severance. The American Federation of Government Employees, the largest federal employee union, has condemned the program, saying it will cause chaos for Americans who depend on the functioning of the federal government. So they're literally demolishing the government as they set AI up as the savior, right? Humans are flawed. Look at all this we have to gut out. Let's replace with artificial intelligence. Musk, who spent $250 million bankrolling Trump's election campaign, is not a federal employee or congressionally confirmed member of the Trump administration. His fast growing powers in Washington stood for Trump choosing him to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, itself a successor to the U.S. Digital Service. The past, the Digital Service has a relatively narrow mandate, serving primarily to maintain websites and technology systems used by the federal government. Musk's influence now extends to the U.S. Department of Treasury, where he and his team took over the federal government's enormous payment system, despite the protests of a top career official who has since been forced out. Over the weekend, Musk said he could use his access to cancel $100 million worth of federal grants. So we have Council for National Policy member Ed Martin writing a letter, as he was recently appointed as a U.S. state's attorney within District of Columbia, okay, through the U.S. Department of Justice. Okay, Ed Martin is also a major part of Stop the Steal with the CNP pedophile Ollie Alexander. Okay, he's a former president of the Philly Schlafly Eagles. Okay, big CNPer. All right, dear Elon, it was good to work with the Doge team this weekend. We must keep all our American government employees safe, and we must protect the American people's property. Anyone imperiling others violating our laws. I recognize that some of the staff at Doge has been targeted publicly. At this time, I ask you to utilize me and my staff to assist in protecting the Doge work and the Doge workers. Any threats, confrontations, or other actions in any way impact their work may break numerous laws. Yes, I saw them going after the people on Must Watch, the reporters, for quote-unquote doxing. I saw that. That's what they're talking about here. They might start arresting journalists. I might be arrested for reporting on this stuff, for reporting on Elon. All right? You think that may not happen, you're deluded. Okay. They're literally talking about it. Let me assure you this. We'll pursue any and all legal action against anyone who impedes your work or threatens your people. We will not act like the previous administration who looked the other way as Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioters, as well as thugs with guns trashed our capital city. We will protect Doge and other workers no matter what. No mention of January 6th, right? One last warning for you. Late last week, we indicted an economist who worked for the Fed for economic espionage for the Communist Chinese. That's true. Please be aware that they're acting against American people in every way. Refer to us as any questionable conduct or details that you find or notice. Please keep in touch. All the best. Edward R. Martin, Jr., United States Attorney, District of Columbia. Retribution. Doge has been granted access to all systems at the Small Business Administration, including HR, contact, and payment systems. So there you go. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta and talks to exit Delaware reincorporate in Texas per Wall Street Journal. The same with Elon Musk, who reincorporated Tesla and SpaceX as of June 2024. Zuck is in with the New World Order. Eric Prince, of course, CNP Zionist Breitbart, letters of marque would allow private organizations to wipe out drug cartels. Well, John Brisson has been talking about the dissolving of FEMA, leading to private contractors like Eric Prince and whatever revival of Blackwater we're at now be the ones who run the FEMA camps, because Eric Prince set up the security for the Chinese Uyghur camps in China. Okay? So now we have Eric Prince calling for letters of marque that we can have private NGOs like Eric Prince forming a new group and have him literally go down and hunt in sovereign Mexico to kill drug cartels and get paid bounties. Just like this is days of yesteryear of pirates and letters of marques to hunt down pirates. So this is what we're talking about here. Letters of marque will allow private organizations to operate in the dead space in between government bureaucracies where the Mexican drug cartels operate. Eric Prince, an American veteran and founder of Unplugged Technologies. I've covered that phone. Don't even buy one. Look at one. It is Israeli spy tech to the hilt. Explained during an interview with Breitbart News Saturday. Well, let's see here. Pepperidge Farms remembers the Eric Prince Secret Police. Let's see here. Do we still have... Was Eric Prince and who else? Was it Oliver North? Was Oliver North and Eric Prince? Yeah, there we go. Eric Prince and CMP Oliver North. CMP Eric Prince and CMP Oliver North are trying to sell Trump on a secret spy force. And, Oliver North is part of Iran-Contra and was a big part of Rex 84, right? And Eric Prince wants the dissolution of FEMA, leading to private companies running the Rex 84 FEMA camps. And now we're talking about letters of marque and private secret spy forces to kill cartel members. Blackwater founder Eric Prince, ex-CIA officer John R. McGuire, and Oliver North have been shopping a proposal to President Trump's White House and CIA Director Mike Pompeo, CMP Mike Pompeo, to create a private global network of expendable spies that report directly to Trump and Pompeo wants Trump to improve the contract. Now, this didn't happen, or did it happen? I don't know, but it seems like it's becoming more and more true now. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Continue. Prince spoke with Breitbart's News Washington Bureau Chief Matthew Boyle about a recent post from Senator Mike Lee discussing what letters of marque and reprisal were and how they could be used to weaken drug cartels. Prince admitted that he'd helped put this idea in Senator Lee's head. Yeah, because Blackwater met with the Republican Senate when they were confirmed. Letters of marque and reprisal government issue commissions that authorize private citizens, privateers to perform acts that would otherwise be considered piracy, like attacking enemy ships during wartime. Privateers are rewarded with a cut of the loot they bring back home, Lee explained in his post. When asked by Boyle what the process would be for a letter of marque to be issued, it would come from the White House or Congress. Prince explained the last letter of marque has been issued after Pearl Harbor to a blimp operator who was authorized to hunt and jump Japanese submarines. So there you go. So that could be done in certain areas of Mexico, certain areas of Latin America, to soak up the spoils of illegal trade and, of course, cartels' ability to operate and terrorize local civilian populations. Lest us forget the American pharmaceutical companies, American government's involvement in drug manufacturing and selling of drugs through Gary Webb's excellent book, The Dark Alliance, and the whole Iran-Contra affair, and the cocaine down there in Latin America, and turning into crack in the ghettos of California, directly affecting the black population in the United States of America. Now we have fentanyl affecting the white population primarily in the United States of America. This is funded by our own federal government, put forth by our own federal government, the drug cartels. But, now we're going to get Prince to go down there and get paid to clean it up and keep some of the bounty, right? What's he going to do with that bounty? What's he going to do with the drugs he finds? As the Boyle, Prince thought this would help solve the problem of Mexican cartels, help the United States do certain things that maybe we aren't doing in order to stop the flow of drugs and human trafficking across the border. Prince explained that one of the system's problems the United States with its security apparatus is all kinds of stovepipes. One of the systemic problems we have, called a structural problem, the United States security apparatus is all kinds of stovepipes. Because now you have China organizing fentanyl. So you have a PACOM area interest pushing chemicals into Mexico, where they now fabricated fentanyl and then push north. So Northern Command issue? Is it a DEA issue? Is it a Border Patrol issue? Is it a PACOM issue? Problem is you have so many different bureaucracies involved that no one is able to swim in between those bureaucracies in that dead space. The cartels do, but no government entity can move that quickly. The cartels basically operate inside the OODA loop of the United States government, and really only a private organization is going to be able to move that decisively with the flexibility required. Cartels have enormous amounts of money, and that lets them be very good at technology, very high-end talent, very high-end weaponry. They outgun Mexican law enforcement and feel terrible for a state, local cop, or a federal cop in Mexico. Within days of coming on to a certain drug team, their family members are getting visited, Prince continued. AF Post reported Pete Hegseth says the Black Hawk that collided with a plane over the DCA was a continuity of government training mission.
Staff Sergeant and CW2, Chief Warrant Officer. On a routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a continuity of government mission. The military does dangerous things. It does.
Now I'm also hearing the blaming of DEI on all of these plane crashes. But I've heard, haven't been able to confirm, that specific Black Hawk was an AI-controlled Black Hawk. So they're blaming it on DEI to hide the fact that it was controlled by AI in some sort of AI autopilot program, if that is true. Okay, so that would make sense there. Okay, so now we have Mike Flynn agreeing with Ed Martin, okay, with retribution and vengeance. Final warning. This is my final warning as it relates to the confirmations of real Donald Trump's nominees. And he's writing this in all caps, just like Trump. Okay, good old Theosophist, CMP, or Michael Flynn. Okay, one of the heads of the QAnon operation was Stanley McChrystal. All right. If there are people inside of the ODNI, the CIA, or the FBI that are working to subvert the nominations of Tulsi Gabbard, who I've covered, is not our gal, Kash Patel, covered on this channel, not our guy, or Robert Kennedy Jr., covered this channel, definitely not our guy, I'm writing to let you know you better stop now and think before you go any further. There's so many people that are ready to be whistleblowers. There's so much reporting currently flowing out, not classified leaks, but leaks of subversive and treasonous behavior. Well, it's punishable by death and Gitmo and all that, right? This has to be in and trust. If it doesn't, you'll be caught and you'll be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Well, that's death. You committed treason, that's death. It's going down to Guantanamo Bay and being beheaded or shot. At Eagle Ed Martin, at Scientologist Pat Bondi, the current Attorney General. Of course, while that is going on, Flynn is having a celebrated American exceptionalism in 2025. America's Future, which is Flynn's group, at the Mar-a-Lago Club, invited honored guest President Donald John Trump. Wow, the New Ager Russell Brand gets the Global Defender of Freedom Award. Wow. Also, we have Ted Nugent, Mike Tyson, the wrestler, Funkosaurus, Tyrus Murdoch, Colby Covington, Mike Flynn, Eddie Griffin. He was in a movie called Undercover Brother. And in that movie, you had the Conspiracy Brother, who was Dave Chappelle, right? I guess Eddie Griffin forgot about that. And Carrie Lake, who's now head propagandist of America, the Voice of America director. You know, filling the position of such shoes as Tucker Carlson's father, Dick Carlson, who was once Voice of America director. So if we go on here, and we see who else is involved with celebrating American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism was Stalin's term, kind of tongue-in-cheek, making fun of Americans during World War II, right? But now they've kind of like embraced that term. They've like made it their own, right? Look, host committee, Border Czar Tom Homan, the Honorable Carrie Lake, Kid Rock, Mel Gibson, New Ager Mel Gibson, oh boy, and Kevin Sorbo. Wow. An overnight stay at Mar-a-Lago. Exclusive quarterly briefings with members of Congress, senators, governors, and lieutenant governors. So if you join America's Future Presidential Advisory Board, okay, I don't know how much that costs. I don't know how much that costs. You will have quarterly briefings from members of Congress, senators, governors, and lieutenant governors. How in the world is this any type of legal? Overnight stay at Mar-a-Lago. Poolside reception, dinner, photo op, preferred seating with VIP, which is Trump. 10 grand. 10 grand. Wow. Oh, Elon Musk. USAID funneled $53 million to EcoHealth Alliance. So Peter Daszak. Do you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research, including COVID-19, that killed millions of people? Well, there are a lot of people that have talked about this previously. Is it really true that EcoHealth Alliance is only to blame? Is it really true that China is only to blame? Is it possible that U.S. had a role? What about Fort Detrick? Did it come from China? Did it come from Fort Detrick? Where did it come from? We don't know. We don't know where COVID came from. We know where the shot came from. Well, that came from the brilliant ideas of various pharmaceutical companies and powerful tech companies, and Peter Thiel and Operation Tiberius Kirk made everything come together, right? And Jared Kushner was getting direct information, the kind of the old Operation Warp Speed hierarchy chart, right? And the United States government coming together through the United States military, through Big Pharma and Palantir, right? But but we're not going to talk about that, Elon Musk, because Elon Musk, you're good friends with Peter Thiel, and you have your own role to play in Operation Tiberius Kirk, right? But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to blame USAID. We're gonna blame USAID, right? Okay. Secretary Marco Rubio appointed as acting administrator for the United States Agency of the International Development, USAID. United States Agency for International Development has long strayed from its original mission of responsibly advancing American interests abroad. It is now abundantly clear that significant portions of USAID funding are not aligned with core national interests of the United States. As an interim step toward gaining control and better understanding over the agency's activity, President Donald John Trump appointed Secretary Marco Rubio as acting administrator. Secretary Rubio has also notified Congress that a review of USAID's foreign assistance activities is underway with an eye towards potential reorganization. As we evaluate USAID and ensure its alignment with the American First Agenda and efforts of the State Department, will continue to protect America's people's interests and ensure their tax dollars are not wasted. So Trump just signed an executive order for Sovereign Wealth Fund. The executive order hasn't been published yet, so I can't really read it. I will eventually, but this is getting into great wealth transfer, quote unquote, territory. I'm pretty sure the NAR is, just leaping up and down, just a sight to behold, right? So it's quite the sight to see, right? Because they think they're getting paid, right? President Trump signed an executive order on Monday calling for the creation of a sovereign wealth fund, essentially a federal-owned investment vehicle that takes stakes in different kinds of financial assets. Let's see if this is actual. Yeah, I haven't released it yet. I didn't think so. Of course, he was cited there with good old Lucky Lutnick, Howard Lutnick. I've covered Howard Lutnick on this channel. It's unclear where the money would come from to start the fund, and it would require congressional approval, a tough prospect given the fund would potentially be a way to cut lawmakers out of a key funding stream. I think it's about time this country had a sovereign wealth fund, Trump said in the Oval Office. I think it's in a short period of time we have one of the biggest funds. Interesting, Scott Bessent said we're going to stand this thing up within the next 12 months, meaning Scott Bessent said it's going to happen. We're going to monetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet for the American people. Trump mentioned we're going to do something perhaps with TikTok and perhaps not. So the U.S. government might buy TikTok, right? And the money that comes from TikTok fills the sovereign wealth fund, right? Sovereign wealth funds are common in oil-rich, typically non-Western countries that run in budget surpluses. The largest sovereign wealth funds are in Norway, China, Abu Dhabi, and Singapore. Trump's sovereign wealth funds move sparks curiosity over potential U.S. Bitcoin acquisitions. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Monday instructing the Treasury and Commerce Departments to create a sovereign wealth fund next year. The The move has sparked speculation about whether the fund could be used as a vehicle for U.S. government Bitcoin acquisitions. While the executive order offers few details on how the fund will operate or be financed, Trump expressed optimism about its potential. We're going to create a lot of wealth for the fund, Trump told reporters, according to the Reuters report, adding that it's about time that the country had a sovereign wealth fund. That's right. We know that Howard Lutnick, good old Lucky Lutnick, is pro-Bitcoin and pro-crypto, the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald. And we also discussed Lutnick's working with Tether very strongly, right? So, yeah. We're going to cover more about this sovereign wealth fund. That's definitely not going away anytime soon. Eventually, this might, be moved to some sort of universal basic income, right? Moving more towards the mark of the beast, right? X being the WeChat of America. The Chinese WeChat of America, as Elon Musk said, right? So, yeah. I've been covering this significantly on this channel for a very long time. It looks like it's continued to move forward to occur. It's not less stuff coming out, slowing it down, or stopping what appears to be the tribulation. It's more and more things coming out every day, every hour, every minute. Take care, everyone. God bless.